Hi, everyone. I was just here having a conversation with Washington and myself, and we were talking about conflicts and fight. Why is that happening in our lives? Why is that happening in our business or relationships? Why does it come up? And Washington was just sharing with me his sharing on that through the information of how they work within his tribe's system on conflicts and fights. So
Yeah.
yeah, Washington, if
Yeah.
you want to just share a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So, like in most of in our tribes, you'll find there is this aggression and fights in the families, and this is normally because of unsolved conflicts in the families. So maybe in the families we had land disputes, or we had this inheriting. Maybe the children are to inherit some properties from the parents or from the grandmothers or grandfather. So in terms of sharing the inheritance, so you'll find maybe there was a problem of sharing, and this was not solved. So this sometimes normally comes up, and you'll find people in the families there fighting, they're aggressive because there is something that was unsolved when it comes to like sharing of this inheritance, or yeah, or the land disputes, and so many others. And also in most of these families, and this also I have experienced it,
Hmm.
you'll find also jealousy in the family. So it also causes the conflicts, the fights, the aggression. And this is where you'll find there is a favorism in the family. If there is favorism, maybe the parents, they are favoring one child, or maybe two children, but the others they are aside. So if there is favorism in the system, you'll find it will generate, or it will trigger the fight and aggression. Yeah, so because one child will feel maybe my brother or my sister is more valuable than me, because there is this favorism in the family. So this has been triggering like the fights and aggression in so many families. Understand?
Yes, and this
Yeah.
is it's not just in your tribe. I work with it all the time, and it applies, I feel, to every family that this is deep down in the system. If it's not from your generation, it's going back first, second, third, fourth generation, even like 12 generations back can affect us. So where have these favorites, inheritance, land, these are all disputes. And then often what happens is, as you say, there's a fight, but there's a disconnect. And I feel that's another important thing to talk about as well, is that, if one brother's favorite over the other, or the younger son got the family inheritance, the house, the farm, the business, now there's going to be a cut off. So there can be a cut off and a disconnect from that sibling or from the family. And when there's cut offs in the system, that also can generate a cutting off. For me, father represents father creator. It represents my channel. So if I have a cutting off from my father because of an inheritance dispute, it means I'm disconnected from my creator part. So now I'm in a separation field, and I'm creating from separation. So greed, power, and this is happening in the world very strongly at the moment, that people are just about themselves, corruption about oneself, taking things for oneself. And the same can go for the mother earth. So yeah, the cutting off as well.
Mm. Yeah. And there's also something else. So in these families, like most of these families of ours, you'll also find when it comes to power. And when I say power, what do I mean? Maybe in a family, you'll find certain two people or one person, or maybe a group of people in the same family, they're trying to dominate the other people within the same family. So, and during this domination, it's accompanied with abuse, because if someone is dominating the other, there is also abuse in the system. So this how you'll
Yeah.
also find it triggers aggression, fight in the family because one feels to be inferior, one feels to be superior. Also, even in the house, there is a husband, there is a wife. So if the husband wants to dominate the family, the wife feels inferior. So she cannot say anything. And now that will cause aggression and fight in the house because the wife feels I'm part of this family, but I cannot say anything because there's only one person who is dominating, and vice versa. Maybe it's the wife who is dominating the house, and now the husband feels like no. So that also triggers the fight. Yeah.
And what I find as well very commonly is that if the parents don't resolve what's in the system, so the mother maybe is passive, the father more aggressive. So this then is passed on to the children or the next generation. And now this is coming up in their relationships. So often we have got aggression or different topics coming up, or passive or avoidance. Coming up in our system, not because of us, but we've inherited it from mother, father, or else maybe the dad is very dominant, but then he's emotionally disconnected from the wife. And then maybe the mom is like, okay, I have to keep the peace, so I keep my mouth shut. And maybe I do something else, my cooking, my gardening, whatever it is. But she's then disconnecting from what his needs are, and that's emotional needs. So then the next generation in their relationship will attract someone who's emotionally unavailable, and then maybe aggression. So she's carrying the information from both sides now. And the child will carry both information, one from an aggressive dominant father, and then one from a submissive mother. But then you carry those parcels within you, and then they'll play out in your life that you'll attract maybe an aggressive partner or a submissive partner, or you will play them out in different roles in your life. So this is where it's very good to look at what were the characters of my family, what are the traits, the familial traits of the family. And that's why we're working with the webinar familial traits. So it's like, what are these traits? What is the characters that's in me from here? And then what have I taken into my system?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels so right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
guys. Mhm.
So it's like,
Yeah.
so there's a space in us which, for spirit, we need space to be like, this year for me is about allowing my essence into my life. Now, that takes space. So then I need to look into my system, my house, and unpack these familial traits or aggression or submissive behavior or conflicts from my system, because they're taking up space in me where my essence cannot express. So, as Washington was saying, it's like, know what's in your system, know thyself, but know what's in your system, in the family system.
Mm.
And I know in your tribe, it's really great because you always tell each other about the characters, what were
Yeah.
the characters of the ancestors.
Mhm.
So it's quite easy for you. I know it's
To
always
know,
easy for
yeah,
you to
where the
know
problem is coming from
where
or
the problem's coming from,
yeah.
whereas I don't have that information.
Mm.
So I have to ask my ancestors to bring it up in my system and then to start communicating and helping me with this.
Yeah.
But a good indicator is always, when you go back home, when you talk to your father, when you talk to your mother, when you see your mother and father talking, when you see your siblings talking, or your uncles and aunts, that's a good opportunity for you to find the traits, the characters, because those characters, before pointing the finger, it's in you and it's taking space in you. And the issue comes in is when you accept them, when you're accepting them, that is me, or that is characteristic of my family. Now, that trait may be useful, so you don't want to touch it, you don't want to look at it, but you want the benefits of everything else. Okay, so a lot of people will come for sessions or to webinars and say, I don't see change, I don't see results. But the real thing, it's like if you're a smoker, you come and you want to know, what's going on, the heavy things why you're smoking, and then we work on that within the webinar or the session, and so you know why you're smoking, but at the same time you're still smoking. Okay, that's why you'll get no results. Okay, so maybe those traits were good for your business, but maybe they're not good in your relationship or in your finances. So it's really important to know what's in your system and where are they useful, and then what do you want to bring into your new space, your new house. That's what was coming up for me this morning.
Yeah, that's true. And when you said, Damien, when you said about inheriting these, so it's true, because also in some of our families, you will find maybe in a group of maybe 2 or 3 families. Back then, maybe the ancestors, they never came together, like they never shared, or there was no peace among them. So you'll find now, like right now, so the 2 families or 3 families that were never came together, I'm talking about the ancestors' time.
Yeah.
So when this ancestor, they see we are now like coming together, we want to talk some language. When I say some language, I mean like
back then.
Yeah, you understand
how they would speak to each other back
yeah,
then
exactly.
is important.
So when they see these 2 families, they're now coming together, they want to unite. So for them, they feel like, no, we were never like been together. So why are you like coming together? So we had disputes. You understand? So we had disputes, but why are you now coming together? Why are you doing things now together, but we didn't do this? So you find out there's energy that comes up to split, that comes up in a way of maybe aggression or fight. And even if you ask someone, why do you do this? He'll never even be able to explain why.
What comes up to me when you're talking like that, it's like, I don't say my auntie had a dispute with my mom. And then my auntie has children, who's my cousins. And then I want to connect with my cousins. Now, my auntie can say, and my mom can say, hang on, we don't get on. We decided to split. So why are you connecting with this person? Because back here we disconnected, because I don't want them to know my secrets. I don't want them to know about my family, because those people are dangerous, because my sister used the truth against me or my life against me. So I don't want my child connecting to her child. Okay, so just see what's behind. So then you'd need to go back another generation, go back to the grandma and say, okay, so why are these disputes? Why are your children behaving like this? What happened back here? So just see the way the energy can come true from our aunts and uncles. Say, okay, no, you don't change this. I don't want my child talking to you.
Yeah,
that's strong on the system, I can feel, because we split and we were good with it. I lived my own life. My sister lived her own life. And we never needed to get into each other's systems. So why are you doing this now? Because this is dangerous. So I don't want you to do it. So then the spirit of that auntie will block the system.
For sure.
So do you see the way it's good to know the characters, good to know what's in the system, and then good to know, say, okay, that's in my system. And I don't need to behave like my auntie and my mom. They are from a different timeline and they have a different relationship. And I allow myself to have another relationship with my cousin. That is them. That is them. That is not me. So I'm clear about that.
So just to try to find out, maybe if you feel there's something in the family, just have to start looking where maybe the problem is coming from, or who was maybe behaving like this. Just try to interrogate like the family members. And so because you have to work first, if there was no this piece, or there was no like togetherness. So you have to work from that point. It's when you can connect. But if you try to connect with maybe let me say your nephew, your cousin, or your aunt, if there was no connection, still it cannot work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you can be trying to connect, but inside you feel a different energy. Like even if someone asks you, why do you hate this person? I don't know. You understand?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you have no reason, but you feel like hating that person. You feel like fighting that person, but with no reason. So this is the energy that normally comes. Yeah.
Because it's what comes up for me is like it's unresolved with the aunties. It's unresolved with my mother and her sister. So they never sat down and accepted, I'm sorry. They never said, I'm sorry for my
Yeah.
behavior. And they didn't connect on that point. So then you can accept what's in the system, and you can accept, okay, my mother never said sorry to my aunt, and my aunt never said sorry to my mom. So there's an unresolved dispute energy in the system. But when I find that, okay, there was no sorry, I can even say sorry in her name, in a way. I can connect with the energy and say, okay, I'm aware and I accept that you never got on. Well, you always, at some point, of course, your sisters, you obviously got on and loved each other, but there's a point of disconnect. So why is the disconnect in the system? And then I acknowledge they never accepted what they did to each other or said sorry to each other or understood where the other one was standing. Why did they behave like this? They didn't communicate. There's missing information. There's secrets. There's something missing in the system. So all these characters and are good to bring up if you find, for example, disputes coming up in you. It's a good key for when this pops in your system is like you say something and say, oh my God, that wasn't like me. That's when they come true. That's when the energy comes true and say, whoa, whoa, that was a bit vicious. That was a bit nasty. That's unlike me. That's not my character. Okay. That's when you can start knowing what is in your system, knowing what's in your system. And then you have got the characters of your parents, of the family system around disputes, but then you also have got what's in the country, what's in the system. So there's many different keys and many ways to become more conscious of what is in your house. What is in your house? Anything you want to share?
For now,
For now, it's okay.
it's okay.
Yeah, so it's like really, and it may seem like a lot of work, but actually it's almost like cleaning up your house, It's like just spending, we of course we want to be in the nice parts of the house, but maybe there's a problem with the plumbing in the toilet. And I have no interest and I don't want to go into the bathroom because there's a smell and there's a problem with the plumbing. Okay. So all you need to do is get the plumber in to fix it. Okay. But first you have to acknowledge there's a problem with my plumbing. Instead, most people put air fresheners in and keep spraying the air fresheners, okay? But that's not going to resolve what is in the issue, and it will affect you for the rest of your life unless you fix the plumbing. You need to identify where the problem is, fix the plumbing, spend a little time where you don't want to be at. I don't want to spend my day with the plumber, but I need to call the plumber, okay? So it means that I just have to spend an hour in the bathroom with the plumber to tell him see what the problem is, give him permission, pay for it, accept, clear it. And then later I can have a peaceful evening. I can have an enjoyable evening. And then I would go into the bathroom, there's no smell. So what is in your system, everything has a time and place. Energy will go back when you find the time and place it belongs to. So this is where you can resolve issues. So it's simply consciousness, and it may feel exhausting, but that also is a dissociation excuse because it's actually less energy to look and fix the bathroom than it is every single 24/7 avoiding to go into the problem in the bathroom, because even when you're sleeping, you're going to be thinking, I didn't fix the bathroom. So that's going to eat up and burn up a lot of your energy. We're like a battery with a certain amount of energy for the day. And if you're using up a lot of that energy saying, I don't want to go into the bathroom, I don't want to go into the bathroom, you know, every day that's going to use up a lot of power and energy in your system. But if you simply just one day say, I don't want to go into the bathroom, I'm going to do it today, I'm going to change it, I'm going to change it, I'm going to stop smoking, I'm going to change it, I know what to do, I fix it, then that gives me a lot of energy for creating and allowing my soul expression in my life, because now I'm getting back into my essence, not my traits. So the traits take a little bit more work, the characters take a little bit more work, and it's worth, I would say it's worth unpacking what is using all the space in your system so you can be yourself and you can reinvent yourself. Then that is another conversation. So yeah, so any family disputes, any aggression, any disputes over land, inheritance, any favoritism in the system will bring in conflicts in the system. So you can simply today ask your system, was there favoritism in my childhood? Was there favoritism in my, in my parents' childhood? What is in the system? Was there anything about a will, a dispute about a will? Was there anyone cutting off? Was there any splits? All these things are good to take note of and to ask in your family, did that happen? If you've got opportunity, and then you'll get to know yourself much more. Our DNA is everything in our system. Our ancestors are in our DNA, and it's good to know what's in your system. But there's good things, there's lots of good things, and you can use them in a good way, but it's just good to know your character and what is their character and what is truly you on an essence level.
Yeah.
Thank you, Washington. Thank you. Yeah. So just we wanted to share that. We'll share more with you in a series of different interviews or conversations. I'll say conversations. And yeah, it's just something to reflect on. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you, Washington.